welcome
Good,
to
you?
Melbourne. We did
you.
message you and we said that sorry about the weather, but I think you said to Mick that you're used to this.
Yeah, I mean it is a lot similar to England, but it's not fabulous, is it?
It's a bit warmer than London, would you say?
Yeah, definitely warmer. I mean, even when I've come here, I've been at the beach, like back in Queensland, and people have been in hoodies and jackets.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So you were in Brisbane as a young one, and then you've moved overseas. Where's the best place you've been? Like, would it be Bristol? Would it be Napoli? Would it be Brisbane? Or is it Lewes?
They're all so different, so it's hard to like compare them all. But I think in terms of like the culture, the lifestyle, the people, I'd say Italy. Like, I love being in Italy. I think it's a nice place.
It's a really good segue. You've got coffee here today at Panenka. It's probably our first chat we're doing at the cafe.
Yeah.
Where's the best coffee? Melbourne or is it overseas?
I've actually not tried many since I've been in Melbourne, so...
Well, we won't judge you today.
Yeah, don't judge me yet.
I know Danny's really, self-conscious
I know,
about
I
his
must say
coffee.
here.
He tried his best on the artwork. I can see who's tried
It's
the more.
good,
I've
good.
got a terrible heart. You've got a great little leaf there going. So tell us, what have you been doing? What are you doing in Melbourne most of all? Is there any exciting news for us to know? Maybe exclusive for the channel? You can keep it secret, don't worry.
Bit of a secret, but no, just exploring Melbourne for now.
Yep.
Having a look around. I'm only here for a couple of days, so just seeing what it's like, really.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us, we've heard a lot about, it's Lewes, not Lewes.
Lewes, yeah.
Lewes, and it's based a couple of minutes from Brighton. I've visited Brighton, love the place. It's quite windy. Anything you can tell us about the area before we get, to dig deep into your career?
Yeah, I mean, Lewes is obviously, as you said, like not too far from Brighton, and it's a quirky little town to say the least. Like, it is really individual, and it's not a big city at all. There's probably only a couple of thousand people that actually live in
wow.
Lewes. But it's lovely, and as you said, Brighton's not far, so like if we ever want to go into the city, go shopping, like that's not too far away, and
Yeah.
the beach is
beach.
there.
The pebbles, a few pebbles.
The pebbles are there.
And that random thing in that big pole.
Yeah, the 360, yeah.
That was a lot of money spent.
I've never been on that.
Oh, can you actually go up to the top?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like
I literally
a
just
sky
walked
deck
past it.
type
Oh,
thing,
okay,
yeah.
makes sense now. It's like Melbourne's weird eye circle thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Fair enough. But how's football been there? I know when it comes to, your experience, Brisbane Roar, moving over to, the UK and Italy, what's Lewes been like for you? I know it's, there was an unbeaten run to get them to where they are now. And I think when we look at, the top tier of English football for the women's, it's been pretty amazing, and we've got the rights to watch it here. But what's the ambitions there for that club and, your personal ambitions at the club?
Yeah, I think Lewes is a growing club. It's not got a huge men's backing because it's not a part of a big EPL team. So in that sense, it's growing. It's always going to be growing no matter what. But I think the league in general, like the championship, it's so competitive. And I think going over there, I didn't really know what it was going to be like.
Yep.
But I think getting there and seeing the level and getting to play in the Conti Cup and the FA Cup, you kind of see the level between both the WSL and the Championship.
Yep.
So I think for Lewes, their ambitions are to get promoted, but right now it's just a growing club. See how high they can get and see how well the players can do and the people that they can bring in. Yeah, definitely. I think as you said, with most clubs, you don't tend to look beyond the football side of it.
Yep.
So I think for me, I'd never been at a club like Lewes where they had all these big, beautiful messages about equality and it's being fan-based and everything like that. So I think when I went there, it was eye-opening. I didn't necessarily go in there with the idea that, I want to be a part of a club that's got equality or whatever. It was there.
Yeah.
So I think when I went and saw what it was like, it really opened my eyes to see how much they actually care about women's football, rather than it just being the men's. And yeah, I think what they stand for is huge, and I think it pushes a lot of other teams in the league, especially ones that don't have the big men's backing, to be like them, to be fan-based. And it creates a good culture around the club. The amount of fans and stuff that we have that actually try to connect with you on a deeper level than just the football. It is huge, and you often don't think of it because I never would or I never used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now that I've been a part of Lewes, I'm most clubs that I want to go to in my future, I want them to be like Lewes.
It's almost like that German club St. Pauli where Jackson Irvine is, and it's a message behind it. And I almost feel like the clubs almost attract players that have the same values.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you say that's the future of Lewes, where it's like connected to the broader idea of the player that plays and represents the club?
Yeah, definitely. I think even when they recruit now, they don't recruit just anybody. I think they look for good people and they try find as many people as they can to get opinions on other players, just because they don't want people at the club that don't stand for what they stand
values.
for.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, no, it is a good club in that sense.
What was the experience like driving from Lewes, sorry, I keep making that,
That's all right.
all the way to Sunderland, an away day there? How was that experience?
That was long.
Cold?
Yeah, cold and long. We did get to obviously stay overnight, which definitely helps. However, like, it is a long drive, and same with Durham. I think we had Sunderland and Durham back to back each weekend, so 7-hour journeys aren't the best, but it's cool to like go up there and play in like different stadiums, because with Sunderland we got to play at the Stadium of Light, their men's. Yeah,
that would have been an experience.
Yeah, it was.
Did you ever watch the doco of like what they're?
Yeah, Sunderland Till I Die. Yeah, yeah.
So you kind of saw that sort of happening in real life. Wow,
yeah.
So what would have been the best experience for you? I know you've got some sort of family connection to Liverpool. Like, is a family that support it?
Yeah, yeah.
So have you played against Liverpool or been to Liverpool?
Yeah, so we played Liverpool early on at Tranmere.
Yep.
They play at Tranmere Rovers, which is again a nice stadium to play in.
Anywhere in the UK was better than playing here.
Yeah, we did lose. I think it was only 2-0, but then they came to us on the last day of the season. They'd already won the league at that point by a mile.
That was the season just happened, yeah?
Yeah.
They've promoted now to
they've
top
got
tier.
promoted.
Oh, wow, yes.
Which fully deserved. Like, they were unreal. But we beat them last day of the season, which was unreal, because I think we'd had such a roller coaster season that like we wanted to go out on a high, and we obviously put it to them last day of the season, and it was unreal. I think we had a sellout crowd as well, which was huge.
Have you had a derby against Brighton yet? Because I'd say that's a derby, yeah?
Yeah, it would be, but no. We've tried to have friendlies against them, but it's just never happened.
Hopefully next season for
them.
them.
I think, like with FA Cup and Conti Cup, like there is a chance that you could draw them, but it's just pot luck that you managed to get somebody close.
100%. Your accent, people, we were questioning before, even the baristas, like, she's British, yeah? I'm like, well, honestly, so how was your story in football? You were born overseas, moved to Australia for family reasons, and just became an Aussie on the Gold Coast?
So born and bred in England, in Barnsley.
So you took the accent?
Yeah. It's a unique place if you ever get to go to Barnsley.
Nah, I don't think I've been there yet.
Yeah, lived there till I was 9, and then we moved out here, like my whole family, just for business. And lived on the sunny coast ever since. My parents still live there, my brother lives there. And then I guess since I finished high school, I've just been back and forth between whatever country I managed to be in, and then back at home.
Which one do you sort of connect to more? The Matildas or the Three Lions? Like, sort of, are you more, again, are you excited about the Queen and stuff like that?
Yeah, I love the Queen. Yeah, it's a tough one, because everyone always asks me that, like, who would you play for if you got the option? And I think that, like, I know I'm English, and like deep down I am English, and like England is probably like my home, like through and through it is my home. But I think when it comes to the national team, it will be Australia that I'd play for. I think just because, like, my football career, I've grown up here. And obviously I've played with a lot of the girls who are on the national team, like at Brisbane. So I think, like, in that sense, like, I've got a bit more of a connection to Australia than I do England when it comes to like national team football.
That's good to know. Look, I think when it comes to representing your country, you almost choose who represents your passion more.
Yeah, definitely.
How would your family feel about you choosing Matildas?
Oh,
they're just proud of you?
Yeah, they don't mind at all, yeah.
And does the World Cup being in Australia excite you for someone that's seen the way the system works down here?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's huge, the fact that we've even got it in the first place. And I think like the investment that will go into the women's game can only get better. And I think for the A-Leagues, I think that will boost that a lot, and it'll attract more players. I think a couple of years ago we could attract a lot of players, but it's kind of gone off a bit. But I think in the coming years, especially with the World Cup, I think it'll attract the likes of the US national team players to come back to Australia and play here and boost it a lot more.
It's actually a good sort of segue again. You're really good at this. I think the one thing I saw a couple of years ago, Melbourne City, we had a few England internationals come down here. I'm pretty sure it was Jodie that came.
Yeah.
And I think that's when the women in football in the UK grew to the point where we see now players like Sam Kerr, Catley, Caitlin Ford, all making a name for themselves. Kai Simon at Spurs.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a positive for Australian footballers to move to the UK, or do you feel like Australian football has sort of lost everyone that made a name for themselves in the A-Leagues, and now it's almost like we have to bring people down here to get that show going again, because it's almost like we've lost every name star that we've had. There's always pros and cons to it. Do you think that there's going to be a level ground in the future where we see both, or?
Yeah, I think that if Australia can make their league a full season, I think that's their biggest problem that they have right now. It's like they can't attract players to come out of like the WSL to come back here because it's not long enough. It's not feasible. Like to play 12 games
or 2 different teams in one season just to get enough. That was the pay side of things is something that, of course, Lewes is always the equal side of the equal payment, and hopefully we get there. I'm hoping by next year. It's the hardest thing. But again, what are your thoughts on the Australian A-Leagues women, how the season should be extended?
I think that like if they did extend it and gave like the home and away season, I do think that a lot of players would come back, because I know being at Brisbane, a lot of the girls loved being there and they loved playing there, but it was just the fact that they couldn't do it for a full year. So I think as soon as Australia puts enough money in for girls to be here a full year and play 20, 30 matches, I think it would bring the likes of the big names like Trina Gorry and like Tamika and all that. I think a lot of them would come back if that option was there.
I'm pretty fortunate to have 2 daughters. I got one and one on the way, and thank you. And everyone always asks me, "Are you going to see them as future Matildas?" And I'd love that. I'm not going to push them. I know there are parents that always do that sort of, you have to play football. If I was ever to have that fortunate thing, and if they were at this age now, I would love them to have that respect of equal pay.
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing I was seeing from a photographer's point of view at Melbourne City, seeing some of the girls, fly from the UK or the US to play 2 seasons in 1 year and then still have a part-time job. Do you think that's something a lot of people don't understand about women's football and dedication that they have, where it's some of them have to juggle motherhood and parenthood to also have a part-time job and play 2 seasons? Do you think that's the hardship that women's football has never been recognised by?
Yeah, definitely. And I think like people just probably don't understand how hard it is to constantly not know what you're going to do. So that's even for me, like my contract ended in May and that's it, I'm out of contract now. So I think the constant like unknown is so hard as a female footballer. And I get that obviously in some leagues and some teams like Chelsea, they've got multi-year contracts, which obviously helps a lot. But as you said, like so many people, especially here in Australia in the A-League, are having to work part-time jobs or even full-time jobs.
There's
and people wouldn't know that. There's
a Victoria girl. I don't want to say it because she probably doesn't want to know, but I saw her at a cafe, and I looked up to her. Like some of the goals she scored at City, kind of probably gave it away now. She's played at both Victoria and City, and I said to myself, like, you wouldn't see an A-League men's player working a part-time job, and it's like it's just not fair. There's younger men who are getting more payment than some of the women who are represented, playing for Matildas or representing their countries. I'm hoping that's a stepping stone to see the change of that. Yeah,
and I think like as you said before, like with places like Lewes who've got like this equality thing, I do think that eventually over time it will impact like other teams and even other countries as well to be more, I guess, equal and give the opportunity to be like the men and be full-time footballers rather than part-time.
Well, you said you beat Liverpool, and I think the success that the club, that the men's have had in the last 2 seasons, 3 seasons, apart from the last couple of losses they've had, sorry, I'm just looking at Nick behind the camera, but I think the women's team sort of pushed themselves because they want to make a statement. And they won the league, and I think that was amazing for them. Even Manchester United, seeing the Man City girls and how they've done, having players like Rasso and everyone they've had through the system, I think we're getting to a point next 5 years we're going to see a lot more of the women's teams making more of a statement than their actual counterparts at the men's. Hopefully Kai Simon Spurs. Is there any team out there that you think is on your radar that you're liking across the world that's doing a good job for women's football? anywhere in the world?
I guess it's hard because you don't really know the ins and outs as like a lot of teams.
Yeah.
I do think that in Scotland, like, you don't obviously hear much of it, but I think they put a huge investment into women's football.
Jacinta.
Jacinta's
Celtic.
obviously at Celtic, and I have a few other friends who are at Celtic and Rangers, and I think that they've all become full-time over the past
Are they friends
year
though?
or two. What's that?
The Celtic and Rangers?
No. Yeah, no. But yeah, like over the past couple of years, they've put so much money into like women's football in Scotland, which is huge. And obviously they're going Champions League and stuff like that, which is making a name for themselves and putting them on the best stage, I guess.
I enjoyed watching Carpenter at Lyon, and unfortunately she had that injury. But it's amazing to see those two teams always make the finals. I'm hoping we see a little bit more change and see some clubs that don't have much funding like a PSG and Lyon have. But let's get back to your career, and you know you've had a few amazing seasons, and I just want to know, how was Napoli? How was that experience in Italy? You know, you had two Australian teammates there, Alex, and you also had Jacinta. But how was the experience in Italy?
It was insane.
For someone from Australia, sort of, and then the UK, how was that experience?
I mean, even like the way it came about was so just like out of nowhere. Like my agent contacted me and was like, "Look, like Napoli's on the table. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to like consider it?" And I was like, "You know what? Just sign me. Like, I want to go. Like, immediately. Let's go." So I kind of went with no expectations. Like, it all happened so quickly.
Have you ever been to Italy before?
No, I'd never been. Yeah.
So what was your first experience?
Like, well, that's the thing. I got to Napoli and they were like, this is the worst place. Like all the girls who are from Napoli, they were like, this is the worst place to come in Italy for your first time. Like, you've started at the bottom. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
But as a club, though,
I loved it. Like, I went to like Venice, Rome, Milan. I went everywhere, and Napoli was still my favourite. And I was like,
what teams did you play? Was it? I can't remember. But Napoli's like
Serie A.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the same as the men really, like Juventus, Milan, Inter, Sassuolo. Like,
any memories that stick out to you? Any like experiences that you can inspire young girls to pursue that career pathway?
I think the biggest thing for me, and like what I would say to like younger people, is just don't be afraid to say yes, because I think for me, like no matter where I've been, it's always been so different, and like the culture and just getting to see new things and like the new language. Like I can barely speak. No. And like I still loved it. Like I could barely communicate, and I just absolutely loved it.
Well, Danny the barista's Italian. After this, we're gonna get you to say order something Italian, okay?
Yeah, no, honestly, like didn't know any Italian whatsoever, and
but the best thing about it is you make friends, you go on and you face them in international football.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, we're gonna see you represent Matildas, or like, are you?
I hope so. I mean, if it was my choice, I'd be there. But yeah, no. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But
and your playing style,
my time.
what boots do you wear? Like, what's your favourite thing that, you know, game day experience? Anything that, you know, any experiences that we can know of?
I don't have any like superstitions or anything like that. I wear the Adidas X Ghosted.
Yep.
Been wearing them for a year and a half, I think, which I love. But in terms of like game day, no, I'm quite chilled. I don't think I have like any set things.
From
I do
early
have
days.
A bagel with avocado and an egg. I do have that most
That's definitely
game
an
days.
Aussie tradition,
Yeah, if it's like available to me, I'm having it. But apart from that, I don't really have anything. I'm quite,
Any pre-game songs?
No.
Nothing?
No. We have a speaker in the change room, so like.
But you're never on
anything
duties?
goes. No.
There's always
one that needs to be in charge.
But I feel like that one person always plays the worst like techno bangers, and it's just like, why? What's your music taste though? Do you have any certain?
Not really. Like, I'm quite an open book.
Yeah.
I think that like because I lived in America for 4 years.
Okay.
I like country music, and that's I know, unpopular opinion.
Oh no.
Love country music, but obviously that's not a game day. Like, can't be doing that on game day.
When you say country music, not Taylor Swift, is it?
Oh no, can't stand her. No, just like proper American country music. But apart from that, I honestly listen to anything like R&B. Probably my go-to. But
and was the US more family-orientated like trip, or was that?
No, for uni. I went out on a college scholarship.
And tell us about that. How was that experience?
eye-opening.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Like, I would move to America in a heartbeat if I could.
So if there was ever a contract for you to go there and play that, you know what? I kind of felt sorry. You can have a coffee, sorry. I kind of felt sorry for that sort of league because once the British sort of, you know, popularity in football and all the women moving over there, I feel like the NASWSL just got a bit, you know.
Yeah, because it did bring so many of the Aussies over there.
Yeah, Sam Kerr,
so many of them were doing like the W League and then like NWSL, but
Ben Egmont's over there now playing at the San Diego.
Yeah.
And that's a new team, and also we got Los Angeles City with Natalie Portman, who's behind it. So it's amazing to see some big stars helping that out.
Yeah.
What team would you like? Maybe this is a bit of a shout out and we can see them in the future.
Gotham.
Yes.
Yeah, it used to be Sky Blue, but probably Gotham. I love New York and like that side. So.
I've asked the team here to get some of their jerseys.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Gotham, and Alex Chidiak's playing at...
Race in Louisville, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
there's an Aussie who's at Gotham as well. He's a goalkeeper coach. He used to be our Brisbane keeper coach.
Oh, no way.
So
there you go. So hopefully that's a bit of
a...
That's amazing. So New York City, everything, hip-hop vibes, you love it.
I mean, I would go anywhere, don't get me wrong, but I think, if I had a preference, it would be
anyone,
Gotham. Yeah.
Oh, look, that's amazing. I think when it comes to watching your career grow, you're still, you know, in your early days, and there's plenty of time for you to see 3 World Cups.
Yeah.
Any ambitions?
I don't know about that. I think I'll be retired soon.
And mate, if Gigi Buffon can do it, I'm sure you can play till 50, yeah? Is there any future sort of ambitions for yourself? Like anything that you set yourself, any goals?
Yeah, I think I'd like to, I mean, I love being in England. I think it is obviously so good for women's football and everyone can see that. So I think like ideally I'd like to be in the WSL and Liverpool would be a dream. But apart from that, I'm quite open to anything. I think when the opportunity presents itself, if it feels right, then I would go. No matter where it is, like I'm quite open to going anywhere in the world. Just need to learn the language before I go. But no set ambitions, I guess. Just obviously playing at the highest level that I possibly can is the goal. Yeah.
And the last thing, I think on your bio on Instagram, you got Common Goal.
Yeah.
An amazing organisation, everything behind it. It's like we said before, there's so many different teams doing things that are positive. Anything you want to talk about Common Goal that the viewers can know of?
Yeah, well, I joined it because Alex Chidiak. I know that
she was a big ambassador for everything that she's connected with.
Yeah, I knew that she was a part of it a couple of years ago, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then I guess going to Lewes is what made me actually like look at it and think, what is this? Like, what is she a part of? So I think for me, it's just like, again, it ties into Lewes. It's just the equal opportunity and giving, especially women and girls, like the opportunity to play football and having the access to play football, the resources, everything like that. So I think I joined Common Goal for that reason to boost the women's game and give girls the opportunity that I guess a lot of people didn't have. I guess for me, I was fortunate in that I did have the opportunity and access, but for a lot of people, I know that they don't. So. Yeah, for that reason.
And look, I think that's going to be a big game changer for the World Cup down in Australia. Hoping that a lot of people get inspired by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming down to Ultra today. We're excited to take you in and do some photos now. We'll hopefully get a little bit of a written interview. So anything we missed during this chat, we'll put it on pen and paper. Cool. Any sign-offs, anything you want to say hello, any shout-outs to anyone back home?
No, all good.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Please enjoy your coffee. We'll definitely have to order another one.
No, it's all right.
Nick's definitely going to be paying that. I felt bad making you not drink that.
Warm.
But thank you so much for joining us on One-on-One today, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.